In 1936, at the age of 10, Princess Elizabeth's family life was thrown into disarray when her uncle, King Edward VI, chose his love of American divorcee Wallis Simpson over his duty to his country. Upon Edward's abdication, his younger brother George was unexpectedly left to wear the crown, making Elizabeth heir presumptive to the British throne. 17 years later, following the death of her father, the 27-year-old princess was set to become queen. From early in the morning on Tuesday, the 2nd of June 1953, crowds ignored the rain as they gathered in London's Mall to cheer the royal procession. The crowds applauded as guests made their way to the Abbey in coaches, including visiting heads of state, representatives of Commonwealth countries, and members of the royal family. At just after 10:30, the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh set out to Westminster Abbey from Buckingham Palace in the Gold State coach, which was pulled by 8 Windsor Greys. Bestowing a gracious royal wave on her loyal subjects who had waited all night, the cheering rose to a deafening roar as the coach approached Westminster Abbey. The Queen was the last to arrive at the Abbey at 11 o'clock. The stands outside the Abbey were packed with adoring onlookers who stood as the royal coach passed. She wore a diamond diadem, crimson velvet robes trimmed with ermine and bordered with gold lace, and a special coronation gown incorporating all the floral symbols of the UK and Commonwealth. After processing the length of the aisle to the altar, Elizabeth waited as the Archbishop of Canterbury asked all 4 corners of the Abbey to acknowledge the new Queen. She was then asked to make her coronation oath. In the central act of the ceremony, the Queen's rich robes and jewels were lifted off by her maids of honour, leaving the Queen wearing a simple linen overdress. The Archbishop of Canterbury, Dr. Geoffrey Fisher, anointed the Queen with the holy oil made to a formula originally devised by Charles I. Then the golden robes of the super tunica were placed upon the Queen and she was seated on King Edward's chair. There the Queen was given the symbols of authority, the orb, the sceptre, the rod of mercy, and the royal ring of sapphire and rubies. Finally, the Archbishop of Canterbury held St. Edward's crown high in the air and lowered it slowly onto her head. Weighed down with the crown, sceptres and orb, the Queen then made her way to the throne. Prince Philip was the first to pay homage to his wife, ahead of all the other peers of the realm. After taking communion, the Queen processed slowly along the aisle of the Abbey to the strains of the royal anthem, which gave her plenty of time to contemplate this auspicious beginning to a reign which would last more than 50 years and make her the 3rd longest reigning monarch in British history. Outside, the crowds waited to congratulate their new monarch as she made a joyful return to Buckingham Palace. The royal coach was followed by marching bands and guards from all over the Commonwealth, and the Royal Air Force made a celebratory aerial salute. Back at Buckingham Palace, the crowd swarmed the gates to watch the royal family make their first of 6 appearances on the balcony. At 9 o'clock in the evening, the Queen made her first radio broadcast to the nation.